GoGriffins.com, powered by United Consumers Credit Union, serving Missouri Western alumni and students with more than 5,000 shared branch locations.
Thank you all for being here. Gosh, it seemed only yesterday that we were negotiating the original contract, and I guess that was at least 5 years ago. So great to have you back, and great to announce that we had successful negotiations and that the Board of Governors of Missouri Western State University just passed a board poll indicating that they supported the contract amendment and that the Kansas City Chiefs will be staying at Missouri Western State University in St. Joe for another 3 years until 2017 in terms of that contract. And then certainly in this hopefully soon to be signed contract, I've signed it. We sent it off to the Chiefs to have Mark Donovan sign it. And there are also two additional extensions to that contract indicating 1 year, two one-year term possibilities if both the Chiefs and Missouri Western agree. You know, this camp, and I see Marcy there in terms of Convention and Visitors Bureau. She knows more about this than any of us. It really has been an extraordinary opportunity for Missouri Western to showcase the university and for our community to showcase St. Joe, and it's been a very good situation for us, and it provides us with a truly national platform. So I'm very appreciative of that, and I think the Chiefs are as well in terms of renegotiating this second contract and this contract extension. As Marcy can tell you from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, an estimated 40,000 people came to our community last summer for the Chiefs camp, reflecting a $6.3 million economic impact for our region. So it was very important for us to successfully extend this contract, and we were actually pleasantly surprised that we were able to extend it for 3 years. I have a lot of people to thank for this. I will move very quickly through this because I know you may have some questions. First, I have to thank the chairman of the board, Dirk Clark, to my injured wing left. Thank you. This had nothing to do with contract negotiations, just a rotator cuff surgery. But thank you, Dirk. Dirk was with us along with Charlie Shields 5+ years ago on the original contract and just put in countless hours, and he's a very good negotiator as well and a very good chair of the board. So thank you, Dirk. Also, well, certainly, I would applaud if I could, okay? Yes, thank you, much deserved. Thank you, Dirk. Also would like to thank in kind of generic terms the city of St. Joseph, who was an original partner and continued to be our partner on this second contract, as well as Buchanan County. I see our esteemed county commissioners here, who I will recognize in just a second. And then also the state of Missouri, once again, was a partner in these negotiations and contract extensions. In terms of specific people that I would like to thank, of course, all of the city councilmen and women, thank them, and the mayor, Mayor Faulkner, who couldn't be with us today, but thank you very much, Mayor Faulkner. And in fact, I think he had a radio interview earlier today in Kansas City where he had to tiptoe around this issue, awaiting the final announcement today. My thanks to, again, the county commissioners, and the three of them, I see two, and I think one more over there. Presiding Commissioner Harry Roberts, thank you. Dan Hausman, Ron Hook, thank you very, very much for your partnership once again on this endeavor. I see R.T. Turner, past commissioner, who was definitely involved in the last negotiations as well as this negotiation. Thank you very much. A couple of other people that you may not be totally aware of who were involved in this process. Senator Rob Schaaf, behind the scene, worked diligently for St. Joe and Missouri Western to make this happen. In fact, the governor's office called me early today to let me know how much he was doing behind the scenes to make it happen. So thank you, Rob Schaaf, and certainly want to acknowledge that. And finally, the state and Governor Nixon. Governor Nixon, in fact, called Mark Donovan, I believe, on New Year's Eve to say that we really want to keep this thing in St. Joe and we'll do all that we can to keep it here. So, Governor Nixon, thank you very, very much. You did a lot to make this happen, and we greatly appreciate that. I would like to single out someone who is not here today. He's actually at the national conference for NCAA in Washington, D.C., but certainly Kurt McGuffin deserves some congratulations for being in charge of the camp, basically, along with a number of other people, such as Mike Halloran, et cetera, who make it happen when it does happen. So thank you very, very much, Kurt McGuffin, for all that you've done. Sorry you couldn't be here on this special occasion, but we certainly want to acknowledge you. Yeah, we have to agree with Coach Andy Reid, and I think certainly Coach Reid was a big part of this decision in terms of loving to come to St. Joe, as you referred to our camp as phenomenal. Coach Reid, we agree with you, and we certainly do all we can to make it phenomenal. This has certainly been a team effort in terms of negotiating it and then in terms of sustaining it. As previously mentioned, a number of partners work together to make this happen. And then once it does happen, realize there are a tremendous number of people that make this actually work on a yearly basis. And they include all sorts of folks, including, of course, athletics, physical plant, housing here at Missouri Western, food services, university police, the Western Institute, our student workers, and then a lot of support from the community to make this happen. So it's a team effort in terms of negotiations, and it's a team effort in terms of sustaining it. Well, finally, it is my pleasure to introduce the very hardworking chair of the board, Dirk Clark, to say a few words. Mr. Clark.
Thanks, Dr. Vartabedian. I am thrilled to be able to announce the Board of Governors vote a few minutes ago to approve a 3-year contract extension of the Kansas City Chiefs training camp. My thanks, like Bob's, go to Governor Nixon, Senator Schaaf, the City of St. Joseph, Buchanan County, and certainly Dr. Vartabedian for his leadership through this process 2 times now, 5 years ago and then again. All this group has seen the benefit that camp brings, not only in tourism, but also the economic development benefit it brings to the community. And during that time in the summer, whenever the Chiefs are here, it moves St. Joseph and Missouri Western to a national platform. Finally, I want to, I go back to the comments that Charlie Shields made in 2009 to the City Council. And we were trying to move the training camp, of course, from Wisconsin to here in St. Joe, and he said, you know, there's a lot of kids in St. Joe that can't go to Arrowhead for a football game, but this training camp will bring those same players to St. Joe on a free platform. So I think that's what much of this boils down to. So on behalf of the Board of Governors, I am pleased to extend the contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. Thanks.
Thank you, Dirk. And just one other note, the Kansas City Chiefs regret that they're unable to be here today because things have moved so quickly. We weren't able to get that scheduled, but Ted Cruz, their Vice President for Communications, indicated that he would be happy to arrange for the media present to talk to Mark Donovan. So you have his phone number on the press release that's been distributed, so please feel free to avail yourself of that opportunity. And at this point, we'll ask Dirk and Dr. Vartabedian to answer any questions.
As part of the contract extension, you guys have to do some improvements and stuff to the field, freeze food prices, equipment. Have you guys put a price tag on that, and what will change from what it is now?
Well, we certainly have some ballpark figures that we're not at liberty to release until the contract is signed by the Chiefs and it becomes a public document. But basically, we want to get the job done on the 2 practice fields. That's the biggest aspect of the amended contract, that the practice fields need new turf, they need new drainage system, sprinkling system, some ongoing maintenance, as well as some better designed and maintained entrances and exits. That's the big change in the contract. There's some smaller things in the contract in terms of extra lodging, some food services issues, some technology and security issues, and some contact person issues, but those are relatively minor issues.
I know the fields were running a little bit late this year. Obviously, they got done and they were nice, but is that what held up the contract negotiations a little bit from 2 deadlines?
Yeah, when you talk about a renovation as involved as what we talked about previously, drainage, new sprinkler system, et cetera. Yeah, there are a lot of details to work out on that, and that probably moved a little more slowly than we would have liked, but we wanted to make sure and sort that through to everyone's satisfaction. Yes, sure, Tom. Uh-huh.
Why is 3-year with 2 ones at the end rather than just a straight 5?
Believe me, we tried for a straight 5. They tried for 1. We tried for 4. They tried for 2. We wound up with 3. Let's put it that way. Yeah, and certainly there are advantages for them to have a guarantee of 3 years with the certain things that are written into the amended contract. And for us, of course, if we're going to make that kind of investment and our partners will make that kind of investment, we certainly want to get at least 3 years out of it. Other questions? I'd say very important. It's important to our community. It's important to our university. It helps us in terms of economic development. It helps us in terms of recruiting. It's a point of pride. It helps us in terms of tourism issues. I mean, there are just lots of pluses associated with the camp, and we wanted to get it done, and I think the Chiefs did as well. And more than anyone else, Mr. Clark put a lot of hours in making sure that it was done. So I appreciate his work and the work that he and Charlie Shields did 5+ years ago to make the original contract possible.
Dirk, can you talk about just how gratifying this is for you as one of the guys that made this happen? And really, before 2010, it was a decade in the works, essentially. And to see it now be here at least 8 years.
It's a huge deal for me. I worked for the Chiefs when I was in college. I went to college here at Missouri Western, so it all comes back together in this agreement. I didn't think 6 years ago I'd be back as chair again. When the renewal came, wasn't great planning on my part, but it worked out okay.
So, on my part, that was as intentional as one can get in terms of trying to get someone who could really handle the negotiations for the extension. So that was good fortune on our part that he was willing to be chair, I think, for the third time in your 12-year term. So I can't thank Dirk enough for all that he's done.
Was there concern the deal wouldn't get done?
We went up to the last minute. So
I think there are always those kinds of concerns. If you've ever negotiated with the Kansas City Chiefs, you know that they're tough negotiators. And I originally thought I'd start the press conference with some reference to my shoulder surgery as a result of the tough negotiations, but I thought that would be inappropriate. But they know how to negotiate, and so we had to go back and forth, and particularly in terms of the length of stay and those other issues. But yeah, I think like any negotiation, you never know when things can go south, and we wanted to do all that we could so that it didn't. And I think Dirk certainly did more than anybody else to make sure that they didn't. Yes, Billy.
On behalf of the city of St. Joe, I'm glad you're back. I've been a season ticket holder for over 50 years, so I'm glad
My goodness. And you're still standing.
and I hope
Yes.
you win.
That's me too. Me too. Oh, good for you, Billy. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Tom.
Another one. We passed a couple of soft deadlines on these negotiations in December and early January. Was it the field's length of contract? What were some of the things that had us go middle of January?
It's all a bit of a blur right now, but yeah, negotiating a contract like this, you want to make sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and particularly with the Christmas break, that slowed things down. It's a combination of things. The playing fields, or the practice fields, were probably the biggest issues in terms of, number one, what we could get done in time for them, which is the July 1st is when they want it all done, and then how we could afford doing it. And of course, it was not only the contract, but it was dealing with various partners in terms of their willingness to help us get there. So a combination of all the above, holidays, partners, complications, particularly associated with the practice fields, made it a little bit of a slower negotiation than we would have liked.
Are there any additions, concessions, changes to this new deal as compared to the first
Just what I've previously mentioned, renovating the practice fields and a few other smaller issues. Probably the second biggest issue was additional lodging that we supplied for the Chiefs. Originally gave them 200 rooms. We're going to give them a few more. You'll see about it in the contract. That was probably the second biggest thing, and then other smaller things, food services issues, security issues, technology issues, contact person issues that I think we're already under control, but we just wanted to make sure and iron them out in the second contract.
Is there concern from them or even from you about the renovation of Spratt Stadium and that causing problems with training camp?
It'll take a lot of extra effort to make sure that we don't step on each other's toes in that process. Of course, ultimately, I think it's a very positive thing for the Chiefs to have what we will have in the renovated, expanded Spratt Stadium, included the luxury suites, the Hall of Fame room, the digital scoreboard, et cetera. So I think they understand that that's to their advantage and that we will plan ahead now that it looks like we're going to seal the deal and make it all work.